And hello, welcome to week 2 of CSL Northeastern Division, and today we have Rutgers Varsity versus Rochester Institute of Technology. We're here for another best of 3 series. Unfortunately, I won't be casting this series today, and we do have a couple new faces today. We have Keldrick and Nucleic here, so...
Hello.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Glad to be here. Kel, you're still muted.
Hello.
Kel is gone. There he is.
I am here.
Alright, now we have Pro Draft up in here.
Okay. It looks like that Rutgers will be using Rem as a substitute for their mid laner, who I don't believe was able to show up for this match today. And it appears that RAT will not be using Hateful Sword, and instead have decided to go for an Autumn Leaf. And other than that, that should be it for subs.
But yeah, while
I'm pretty sure our mic isn't being picked up because I'm on the stream right now. And I don't hear anything.
we should be on a delay.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, that should clear things up.
That would make sense.
But while we're
okay.
here, we should probably run down the patch. So since from last week it was 10.21, we are now on the new 10.22 patch. Quick reminder to everyone watching or just tuning in that Seraphine is disabled until I believe the 15th. Someone could verify that.
There's a 2-week delay between release and playability in CSL. So
No BS Sona version 2.0.
I'd say the biggest changes that did affect comp for this patch would definitely be the Samira nerfs. She has 2 less AD and 2 less armor, now being 57 and 26. Lulu top got nerfed 40 damage off key level 5. And lastly, Ash Volley has 2 less arrows at level 1, but 2 more at level 5, being 11 at max.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty big changes in regards to the meta and bot lane. Ashe was a huge power pick for several patches in a row here, so we might see a lot less of Ashe now that her poking potential has been reduced. Um, and I'm excited to see how the matchup goes out. We do see that Rutgers again does not have their main AD carry here with us today, so Rem will be playing the mid lane with Transact now in uh, the bottom lane for Rutgers.
And yeah, as the players come right in, we could maybe run down the roster that is playing today at Rutgers, and as well as the opponents. So take it away.
Top lane we have Lil Top over here. He recently has began his competitive career here at Rutgers. I do believe this is his first season, or perhaps a second playing with us. And mainly looking at his solo queue playstyle, he mainly plays a lot of bruisers in the top lane, bruiser tank hybrids, Shen, Cho'Gath, Set, and I'm going to assume that things like such as the Volibear, the Mordekaiser is going to rear its head occasionally, and I do know that Lil Top has also played a little bit of Lilia Top as a pocket pick, so we could see that come through. The Cypher as a jungler has been very dominant so far throughout the tournament, mainly playing aggressive junglers such as Graves, Nidalee, Hecarim, all those meta champions that you see here in the tournament, as well as at Worlds just a few weeks ago. So I will be excited to see how he pushes his lead forward. Matt, also known as Rem, very aggressive mid laner as well, and a challenger peak several seasons back. Plays Irelia, Silas, playmaking mid laners that will be able to push his lead forward as the game progresses, as long as he isn't put too far behind. Transact, new face here at Rutgers, playing Caitlyn, Jinx, a little bit of Ashe as well, but now that Ashe is nerfed, we may not see that come through. His Ezreal is his pocket pick, with a lot of games on that, and being a very safe and yet extremely scaling hyper carry in the late game. I do expect to see an Ezreal game here, perhaps in one of these 3 games. And finally, we have I Am a Nice Guy, currently Masters. Looking at a Bard 1 trick, but I do know that he can play most meta supports, Morgana being his Enchanter or pocket pick to defend against the popular engaged supports that are happening right now. And of course, Leona, Nautilus, aggressive supports that will make laning phase a lot more dangerous for the enemy team here. Will be on the side of Rutgers. Kel, if you wanna do a little bit of analysis for RIT, it's all yours.
So RAT will be running Hypernut in the top lane. He mainly does play Irelia, but he does also have the Camille, Vlad, Fiora, and Tryndamere up there as well. But he potentially could be playing the Camille rather than, say, Irelia. Camille is fairly strong this patch, is a very safe blind pick as well, does beat many of the meta top laners. Going to their jungle, and Autumn Leaf mostly does play the Graves and Lee Sin, both very strong this patch, as well as the Zac for more tank engage form of jungler. Mid lane, they have Mad 2012, has been playing a lot of poke mages recently between the Ziggs and the Zoe, as well as a couple Zillion games. And it looks like we might be getting to draft soon, so I'll try to wrap this up quickly. KRC 25 mostly plays Ashe and Caitlyn, both very strong this patch. He shares a lot of similarities in his pool between Transact, both mostly playing the Caitlyn, Ashe, and Ezreal. They do have some unique picks between the two, such as Transact's Jinx and KRC going for Xayah and Jhin. Jhin very strong as well, so we could potentially see it coming out. And lastly, Saber Fury, their support, mostly an Enchanter player, plays Karma, Lux, has some Leona games, but we most likely will see an Enchanter.
And with that, we did start the champion draft. They've already banned a good amount of champions, as On RIT side, they did ban out the Bard, which it has been a very comfortable pick for, I believe, I Am Nice Guy, as well as the Nidalee being gone, who is just such an impressive jungler. And
it looks like the Zillion ban will be coming in as well, hopefully to try to prevent their mid laner Mad 2012 from playing a more supportive role for an Autumn Leaf, who I believe will be attempting to enable. They most likely RT will be attempting to enable an Autumn Leaf to carry. He is their best player, I believe, and it looks like RT gonna first pick the Ashe here. Ashe, while she did get the W nerf, is still fairly strong early of getting her prio in the laning phase, but the 7 Aerith rather than 9 will make it a bit harder. Now let's see how Rutgers responds.
I'm expecting something like a Caitlyn or, and I was about to say Caitlyn or Jhin here as well. Jhin also has made a re-emergence here, having been picked in Worlds as a counter to these long-range AD carries who have a lot of laning pressure. And coupled with the Jhin, I'm actually expecting something like the Morgana here to counteract the Ashe engage and the potential support engage that RIT wants to pick up here. However, support has been picked in round 2 and round 4, a lot less for the red side. So we may instead see something like a mid or jungle.
That's something I was expecting.
Something like a Galio, and it's also note that the Galio can be both flexed to the support role and the mid role, so RIT now needs to figure out whether or not he wants to play. They want to assume it's in the mid or it's in the bot lane.
I do believe that is a mid lane Galio. Rem in his match history has been playing a lot of it recently.
That is true.
Look to enable Decipher, who does tend to play more carry picks such as Graves and Lee Sin and Olaf in Italy.
Alright, the Kindred pick comes through, seeing that the Graves is banned. Kindred is a very strong jungler right now. Generally traditionally picked against a Graves for the range versus range matchup, and I'm actually curious to see how Rutgers will respond with a jungle pick of their own, and an interesting Ziggs hover here for Rochester.
In terms of jungle response, we've seen Decipher play a good amount of Hecarim, so we could see that pop up. Lee Sin is also a very good counter into Kindred, but with this team comp, it might be a little bit difficult to nail those insects or have that playmaking potential.
Yeah, with the Ziggs... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's definitely interesting to see the Kindred picked into Galio, because while Kindred can ult, Galio does really like everyone being clumped up under his R, and it looks like a Camille will come in. A very traditional Camille Galio setup, hoping to pin down the carries in the backline, Ashe and Ziggs.
Yeah, now with the support and top laners to be picked on the Rochester side, I'm going to probably see an Irelia ban here from the Rutgers side, or for Fiora here as well. Both champions that we said before played by the Rochester top laner Hypernut, and maybe even perhaps a Leona ban here, so that the Morgana ban from blue side that could come in the round 5 ban will not cause the Jhin great harm. We will see how Rutgers decide to play this last ban out. Personally, I would go for the Leona ban solely because with Morgana possibly being banned away in round 5. But they do elect
comfort ban.
Yep, they do elect for the comfort ban from the top laner, and the Lilia ban comes through for Rochester, targeting Decipher a little bit. Yeah, that's also true. That is also true. But and again, the Galio could go support, and Rem has a lot of Camille mid games. You never know when that Camille could go mid, so that Lilia could have been a ban for Little Top or Decipher here.
Yep, and
Decipher, as predicted, is hovering the Hecarim here and locks it in. Yep, and let's see how Rochester responds, and now they have to blind the support pick now. Rutgers electing to have the support pick, or possibly again the mid lane pick open for Rem here, in case they want to do some crazy swapping, put the Galio in the bot lane. I really hope that the Galio goes to the bot lane with the Camille Omni Stone that Matt loves so much in the mid lane. That could be some high hopes. Yeah, the Shen lock in for the top lane. Relatively safe top lane pick. has tremendous global impact and can make a lot of plays with the Kindred ulti especially to deter dives, to initiate dives, a bunch of possibilities, and also into the Camille. It's really good.
We could potentially see a Tahm Kench here, actually. Rutgers is packing a lot of dive in the Hecarim Camille Galio with the Jhin ult from afar. And
there it is, the Tahm Kench. Yeah.
Hopefully just mitigate.
Wait,
wait a
we were
minute.
told that that's a Zyra.
That's
Tahm
a
Kench
Zyra.
is Zyra.
Another comfort pick. It looks like RET is prioritizing comfort over meta, which is always an interesting discussion.
Will we run it back to Season 6 and see a Misfortune support?
Well, we see
that
it
could
indeed.
be good.
I mean, seeing Ash... Sorry, seeing Ash Zyra bot lane, I'm going to assume that they want to play some kind of engage champ like Leona, Nautilus, Blitzcrank, something to get on top of those two, because the worst enemy of a Zyra is getting engaged on. So playing something like a Jhin Leona will effectively lock down either Ash or Zyra, and either of the kills are really huge. And looking in general team comp, I do believe Rutgers comes out just a little bit ahead from the tremendous amount of wombo that they have, for lack of a better term. Camille ultimate onto any of their backline targets with a Galio follow-up. Hecarim R, it's just so much AoE damage that they can put out before they can even react. And with Leona Solar Flare being such a potent CC target, and with Leona being able to follow up with almost 4 seconds of CC by herself afterwards, Rochester is going to have a lot of difficulty trying to peel for their carries here in their team fights here. However, they do have the Shen as a safeguard, a little bit of extra shielding on their carries, and as well as Ziggs and Ashe poke from afar. They could just be looking to poke them down, whittle them down, find some kind of opening for a Zyra root perhaps, and then the Zyra ultimate follow-up. So, I'm actually excited to see how Rochester decides to play the game. I think that seeing the lane priorities right now, I do think Camille has slight priority over Shen. Maybe it's an even lane in the top lane. Mid Galio versus Ziggs both have pretty equal pushing lane at the beginning, so it is going to probably end up being a 3v3 skirmish for the top scuttle as we head into the 3rd minute of the game. When that happens, Kindred and Hecarim, of course, assuming that Hecarim elects to go phase, or Hecarim can stick to the Kindred, but it will be interesting to see if the Hecarim elects to go for the Conqueror instead. Bot lane wise, Ashe Zyra obviously is going to push out the Jhin and Leona just a little bit. The poke damage from Zyra is just a little overwhelming for a melee support to deal with, so perhaps Kindred will elect to go for the bot scuttle instead of fighting Hecarim for the top one. We're moving into the picks. Kel, what do you think of the potential mid-game fights that's going to happen around the Dragon Pin, around the Heralds?
I think a major point of contention will just be the zone control coming out from both the Galio and the Camille. They will have to play around Camille hookshot really well as ward for the Hecarim, who will be constantly looking for a backline dive. You need to, with Galio, the thing about him is that you constantly need to be aware of his taunt, his Shield of Durand. It's just such a potent ability, and if anyone gets hit by it, could just lock them down for death instantaneously. As well as both the Leona ult being a fairly long-range engage tool, as well as the Jhin ult slows. It'll be very hard for RET to navigate around the dragon. Thankfully, the Tahm Kench is here. He will most likely be taking Cleanse, because he is going to be looking for the Devour, and will most likely need to Cleanse to escape the Leona CC. Typically, Tahm Kench in competitive, you do see them take either the Cleanse or heal. But here it's most likely Cleanse. Ashe could be taking TP, but against a Jhin Leona, they might want to go for a more defensive-oriented summoner spell.
I'm probably looking at something like a Cleanse on the Ashe, and perhaps even an Exhaust on the Zyra for the Camille dive in the future.
I forgot Zyra, my bad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the Zyra.
It will be hard for Rutgers to get around the zone control offered by the Ziggs Minefield as well as the Zyra ulti. But other than that, if Rutgers is able to get in, it will spell doom for RET.
All right, and we are the draft has been completed, and we are now waiting for the game to begin. Any closing thoughts? I mean, I honestly, as a Rutgers caster, honestly, I'm a little biased. I would love Rutgers to win. But I think that in regards generally to how the I find it very interesting now the meta is that support counter pick is a thing. Back just a few patches ago, it was usually a full bot lane pick into a jungler pick in round 1 through 4, and then we have the top and mid counter picks. But now with the support role being so strong now, with the potential roams, and seeing that it's the Zyra here instead of the Tom Kench. I think that the roaming potential of the Leona is going to make a big difference in this game. I think that the Leona being able to roam to side lanes while the Jhin is able to safely farm will perhaps be that difference maker in the early game skirmishes that Rutgers needs to find.
Yeah, it's definitely a win lane, win game outlook for RAT. They are drafting Ashe Zyra, known for their both poke and pushing power, and it looks like they might be looking to help enable Kindred in invading the jungle and getting her early marks, because the sooner she gets 4, the sooner she can start taking over the game. As well as the Shen ult coming in, it could be very favored in the skirmishes early on, especially with Jhin most likely gonna be poked out in lane. One thing I do expect to see here though is the boots 4-pot. We have seen it a lot at Worlds on Jhin, and once on MF I believe, where they do go boots 4-pot. They get the bonus move speed from Jhin pass, as well as just in lane sustain from starting 4 potions. Jhin not really needing to start D-Blade or Cole.
Yeah, I think that that's a huge possibility, especially with something like a Leona engaged. She's very reliant on her E skill shot, and if he's able to dodge those, her all-in potential is just drastically reduced. It's very difficult for her to get in at all. So oh, sorry, not the Leona, the Zyra. The Zyra all-in potential after missing her root is extremely hard. So having the Jhin 4-pot, the Jhin boots 4-pot would be really great, and also to dodge the Ashe volleys. The hitboxes on the volleys is actually extremely deceptive, and you could actually end up getting hit by the tip of it even as you run backwards. So having that extra bonus move speed will allow him to avoid a lot of the poke that will be coming through. And as we enter spectator delay and we almost get into game, I have high hopes for the Rutgers team for pushing their lead early and to abuse the lack of early power that the Ziggs has, and then perhaps play around mid-top. And what RIT then needs to do to answer that is to really get that scaling down, really avoid any fights that will cause too much detriment for their team.
And it looks like we'll be closing out here.
We'll catch you after the break. Alright, and we are back and in game for game 1 of Rutgers versus Rochester Institute of Technology here, as both teams now are walking out of the fountain here. And Rutgers actually is electing to do a 5-point instead of the usual RU screw that they love to do. So, you know, standard, Camille in the Tri-Brush, Hecarim in the jungle corridor protecting his red. I'm curious to see whether or not the either teams will push forward for a little bit of a deep warding later on in the game. Here we have Hecarim beginning his recall here, probably looking to just place a ward in his jungle just to make sure the Kindred doesn't invade here. Yep, and there is the ward. Here we have the Kindred placing her own ward down in the Pixel Brush in the top side, so both junglers electing to probably do a full clear and then meeting in the top river. Both junglers getting their bot side leashes.
Just tell me when the buffs start. When they start buffs.
Yeah. Alright, buff spawned, and both junglers have began their clears, and Ziggs is already starting to push, but Rem is also starting to push back just to get that little bit of early lane prio, perhaps to help his jungler at the topside scuttle.
Does look like Rem did opt in for the Predator Gallia. We have seen 3 separate keystones that people have been running. There was the traditional Aftershock, followed by Unsealed Spellbook plus Nimbus Cloak, but then they nerfed that and people actually started running Predator on him to hopefully just enable Galio to run into the backline fast and look for picks. And in bot lane, it does appear that Jin chose to opt into the D-Blade and very traditional fleet footwork. And other than that, everything seems fine.
And both junglers have finished their 3 camps, both at level 3. The Cypher electing to walk into the boss side jungle, looking for a gank here.
Ziggs, unaware of this, does not have the Satchel Charge, will most likely have the flash here. Ooh, the CC chain, it's a lock and load, and he's dead. Lil Top gonna have to flash away from Kindred top lane. She does get a gank off, but less successful than Ziggs. It was fairly greedy of Ziggs to go the minefield second, but oh wait, it looks like Hecarim
almost dying. Yeah, and now has to recall here, or else the Kindred's gonna come, and Kindred shows up in the lane. Galio should be able to walk out, flashes forward, flash for flash down. The Leona is going to rotate up. The Kindred elects to stop the chase here as she realizes that the enemy bot lane is beginning to rotate up. So,
the Cypher tanking that turret is catastrophic. Kindred will be able to get her free mark due to it, as well as Rem burning his flash. Due to tanking, he was not able to help fully shove out the wave. And now, Kindred will be potentially getting a free double skull here. Rem gonna pop the Predator, but the scuttle is already gone.
I mean, seeing that all the sums are down now for the entire top side of Rutgers, it's going to be very hard for them to avoid ganks now with the Kindred and Shen in the top lane for low top. Her hook shot needs to be really used sparingly, unless she knows where the enemy jungler is going to be very, very difficult for her to trade into the Shen here. The Cypher clearing out his top side now and hoping to get that bottom scuttle, and we do see that the bot lane wave is being slowly pushed in.
Kings coming down onto the bot scuttle from an Autumn Leaf. The bot lane prio is here. It looks like Rutgers is attempting to freeze the wave, but it has worked against them, as now Kindred will be getting a free double scuttle. The level is it gonna be Smite Steal because he's a level up, but it doesn't matter. The TP coming down from Shen. The root gonna land, and it looks like Zyra's going down. The 4-shot gonna come down, and it's gonna be a free double kill for the Cypher. Taunt gonna come in, and it looks like the damage is there. And 4-0-0 Hecarim right now. All the eggs in one basket for Rutgers.
Yeah, and notice how that the Shen began to challenge CB, but Little Top actually looked for the hook shot and tanked 2 tower shots, I believe, for the teleportation cancel and won them that fight extremely hard off that one cancel alone. So what a great play actually made by Little Top there, making sure that his team can pick up so many free kills. And now with the bot lane propelled ahead, and as you can see, the CS difference in the bot lane is absolutely colossal. Jin with a 15 CS lead on the Ashe and 3 assists as well. This could be just Jungle Kingdom for the Cypher here. After he backs, he should be able to complete at least the Sheen and components of the Phage, if not both
it
here.
looks like the Shen taunt gonna come in, the flash to block the hook shot, but it's not enough. The Kindred 3-hit passive is not gonna take Lil Top down, and he will be escaping without having to burn any sums. I don't see a dive coming out from Shen here as well, so it's just a wasted flash.
I'm surprised that the Camille actually didn't elect to use the ultimate on the Shen right there after he began taking tower shots from autoing and getting the grass proc there. So that could have been a kill opportunity wasted since the Hecarim was walking top as well. But
Hecarim gonna forgo going Red Smite or Blue Smite. You're gonna go straight for the Triforce. Does have the Phage and Stinger components as well as Boots 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised that he didn't elect to go the Sheen and Stinger completion here. Generally, the Sheen power spike is absolutely massive for Hecarim, but seeing that he has a 400 gold get bounty, I believe that he's thinking he needs to get himself to be a little bit more tankier to make sure that he doesn't give away this gold for free. As both junglers are now moving towards their respawn bot side camps. And with the top scuttle now coming up, Rem is actually going to put a pink in the pixel just to make sure that the Kindred is not going to be there taking it.
Gallia gonna be going for the Hextech Gunblade, Hextech Revolver here, gonna get as much damage as he can. Revolver is an incredibly strong spike on Gallia just because of how much burst it adds to his passive in an all-in. Because you do get the AP, you do get the 72 bonus damage on Revolver, which is not something to scoff at for certain. And it appears Ziggs will be going for the Archangel staff, and he does have the tier, will start stacking it. But it does bring into question how long RAT can hold on to this early game, because they are already so far behind from the skirmish by Dragon.
Go for it.
It looks like the early gank top did not lead to much. They were not able to set back Lil Top despite blowing his flash early, and following that, Shen wasted his flash for a failed kill attempt.
Yeah, and Kindred was actually spotted on that pixel brush that Rem put down earlier on the pixel brush. And now that they know that Kindred has cleared out her top side, the Cypher should be able to tell that Kindred's going to be playing towards the bot side of the jungle, and he can perhaps look to take some camps from her in the top side, and maybe even go for the Herald. Yeah, and the top scuttle is actually there's a little quirk to the top scuttle where if you actually enter the pit from the top side of the pit while hugging the wall, you're actually able to skirt past the vision of the scuttle and enter the pit undetected. So we may see Hecarim look for that play right here and take the Herald while the Kindred is playing towards the bot side. And here he is. Yep. Oh, but Rem shows himself, so they do telegraph their intent to take the Herald here.
There's not much that RAT can do to stop this, however. There's just so much cryo coming out from both Lil Top and Rem. Lil Top gonna be going for a trade, gets the Sheen empowered Q onto Shen and just gonna chunk him to half HP. The Camille Galliel coming down. Shen gonna go down here for certain. Taunt gonna be given a freebie to Matt. And it looks like Shen will be denied a full wave of XP. Gonna be put even further behind here. Kindred might look to catch some of this wave, but it's incredibly dangerous with 3 strong. The Herald coming in as well, actually. Rem gonna tank 2 turret shots, might sway them away from it, and it looks like they're just gonna get 2 plates and leave. They do not want to get rid of the turret.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised that the Herald was dropped there, but given the timing of the Herald, now that the game timer has hit actually 10 minutes, I do believe that they do want to get the Herald down before it actually ends up expiring in case skirmishes happen and the Hecarim is unable to put down the Herald there. So getting extra gold inside Little Top's pocket is obviously a great thing for the Camille to play this Shen lane. Gives her that little bit more of trading power, and with Sheen and Phage completed into Shen's double longsword and double cloth armor, you're going to see a lot of advantageous trades from Little Top now against Hypernut. And we got some bot lane warding shenanigans here. Transact and I'm a Nice Guy going into the Dragon Pit actually and getting vision control. Rem roaming down as well. I believe that they're looking for the dragon now. That
it looks like RET will be giving out for free. Kindred is topside right now. Gonna be looking around to try to steal a camp or two maybe now that they see that Rutgers is on dragon. Another thing I do want to talk about the Herald play is that it almost feels necessary to either drop it mid, because Ziggs is getting to that point where he can just AFK the wave clear. But it looks like there is a play coming down top. And it looks Jindal gonna come, and it's gonna be a burnt flash from Ashe. The Leona ult gonna come down. And it looks like it could potentially be a dive if they decide to stick around. Galley there for bot, but it's a mid play. From the looks of it.
I believe that the play was mainly called off due to the fact that there was no wave actually pushing into the bottom tower. It would have been the first person in that tower would be tanking immediately. So and without Galio ulti, and wow, I didn't even catch how
explodes there. It looks like the satchel charge knockup was actually cancelled by the Hecarim, the devastating charge, and it looks like a play going on to the Raptor camp. Cypher looking for a steal, but the flash coming out. It looks like Cypher gonna be giving shutdown. Shen'll as well. Rem might be dead here as well. But it's gonna get cancelled by Camille again. Kindrel coming in. Ashe Boys coming down as well. Leona is going to be going down here too deep in. Rem escapes at the cost of his support.
I mean, that was a little bit greedy from the Cypher. They're electing to go for that Raptor camp there. He tripped over a ward, and he actually didn't know where the Kindred was. The Kindred didn't contest the Dragon, so I mean, it was very likely that the Kindred was topside if the Dragon goes uncontested, which means that topside should be cleared. Bot side jungle is definitely up, and going for that Raptor really was a blunder there for the Cypher, having no flash or ghost up, and the Kindred E-slow is so crippling when placed on you. It's almost a 60-70% slow on you, and actually going back into the Kindred, thinking that he could fight her, really cost him the life there, and also I believe it was a 500 gold shutdown, giving 800 gold to the 2-in-1 Kindred. And take note that Kindred now also has hit 3 stacks, so I do believe that she is one more away from getting that 75 range and bonus attack speed on her Dance of Arrows.
Another major thing was that once again, the Shen global pressure is being mitigated by the Camille hookshot. Earlier the TP was cancelled, and right there, the Camille hookshot canceled the Shen ult from coming down, which almost caused the death of Kindred.
Yeah, and you know, and also if the Shen ultimate did come through, it was without a doubt that Rem was dead there. There was no way for him to get out alive. But Little Top once again saving the life of his teammate. And now we have hit 14 minutes. The plates have indeed fallen. Rutgers with a tower and 1 plate down in the mid lane, and I believe it is 2 plates down in the
looks like
mid lane.
It's gonna be a play onto Zyra. The CC chain coming in, and it's just gonna be a burnt flash, but no, Hecarim extends the play. The onslaught of shadows gonna come over the Kruk wall and take him down. But right now, Kindred is booking into the Raptor camp, will be getting the 4th stack of her passive. Yeah, another play coming onto Ziggs, gonna be chunking him half HP. I don't know if he'll be able to stay, actually, if Hecarim decides to prance on over.
Oh, we do see the Kindred hovering now, though.
Kindred is hovering, foreseeing a play coming out, and now it's just gonna be an engage on the Kindred. Gonna short stop the taunt there, but Kindred will be going down regardless.
Yeah, and that's where the power of the Hecarim comes through. I mean, the phase rush just allows him to so easily run the Kindred down, even with her Q.
It's a Camille Galio combo again. Decipher gonna take a turret shot, will not be picking up this there, but they do deny Shen yet another wave.
And you know, that's how it's almost like it's deja vu. You've seen that literally happen just not 10 minutes ago on the top turret with not 5 minutes ago with the Galio ulti on top of the Shen as Camille ultis him under his own turret here. And another Herald looks like it's going to go over to Rutgers once again. And you know, as I was saying before in the pregame lobby, it seems like their win condition was going to be scaling and perhaps letting their poke bot lane get ahead. But their poke bot lane is now 45 CS. I mean, that's essentially 3 kills worth of gold.
It's a 1200 gold lead bot. Right now, Transact is actually sitting on almost 3k gold though, so the advantage is currently towards RIT's bot lane. And it looks like Dragon will be coming up soon as well.
And
just
you know,
5 seconds.
Yeah, and actually that word from I'm a nice guy into that Tribush actually just barely saves both of their lives here, as the Shen and Kindred both appear into the bot lane. And Kindred has actually began to sneak the Drake, and now is caught out.
Hit by the Leona. Ult gonna come in. I don't know if she'll be able to live this one. The Galio EQ. But look at the Rutgers bot lane. They're both 100 HP. Shen not able to TP into the fight. It looks like they will be seeding the Dragon. Rutgers will most likely be getting soul points. Galio gonna taunt up the Ziggs. Gonna get another freebie. Ziggs explodes from half HP to 0 instantly. Just RIT not being able to take advantage of Shen's global. It looks like Galio gonna be running in to CC up Shen again.
I mean, they're just being run down at this point, and Shen burns the flash there. Hypernut trying to flash away before the empowered position protocol comes through for Little Top, but unfortunately the auto attack goes through and mid tower goes down. And I mean, this is a massacre.
And that's why it's such a scary item spike for Camille. The Triforce Q is converted into true damage. So it's just a massive slap to the face. And this Shen is not tanky in the slice. He did opt in for the Tiamat to try to counteract the Camille shove power. But at the end of the day, it's just not enough. He's not tanky enough. The Galio is constantly on top of him, dealing magic damage, and the Shen has only built armor support. He does not have his Sunfire, he does not have his Tabi or Mercs. And interestingly enough, it looks like both Decipher and Rem are going for the Merc treads here. You'd think they would go for the Tabi, but perhaps they value the Tenacity coming out because of the Zyra root as well as Assault and Shenton. It looks like Galio did opt to go Nimbus Cloak Transcendent secondary rather than, say, Unflinching or Legend Tenacity. Hecarim did go to Legend Tenacity, which begs the question why he would want to go Mercury Treads here.
Yeah, I mean, Tenacity actually has, you know, extremely diminishing returns as you get more and more of it, unless you get an absurd amount of it to the point where you're not getting CC'd at all. But, and also, looking at that game timer right now, as we approach the 19-minute mark, there's a 10k gold lead on the side of Rutgers, and, you know, there was a bush set up there by the Kindred and Ashe, but they're just too scared to walk forward. Leona and Galio just scare both of them away and flash in from Rem. And, wow, that's a dead AD carry. Welcome to AD carry in 2020.
And it's just nothing the immobile carries of RAT can do against a fed Hecarim. He will just run on top of you, and there is nothing on this team that can peel Hecarim off of you except for that Shen taunt against Hecarim. But he can just unstoppable. Right now, they're going to be pushing into the inhib turret at sub 20 minutes. The Kindred jungle is being taken, and right now, there is almost a 4k gold lead in the top lane. No one's gonna be able to stop this Camille.
I mean, this is just a prime example of like how you know the macro play just like worked out in their favor. That one play that gave Hecarim 4 kills in the bottom lane just absolutely propelled his lead forward in the jungle, and he was just able to make so many plays with the items that he got. as well as the level lead that he got. That, you know, even though Kindra's now like still barely keeping up because she got a couple shutdowns, there's nothing she could do for her team. Her team's already fallen so far behind. The Shen has a Tiamat and half a item complete, trying to go for that Sunfire right now. I just don't see a way for RIT to come back.
With the Dragon coming up in a minute 30, it looks like I Am Nice Guys opted in for the early Elixir of Iron purchase. He does have the CDR garage sale with Glacial Shroud and Kindle Gem. It looks like they will be looking to snag this Ocean Soul and then the game for free. Because with how far behind they are, it's just so hard for RT to itemize Grievous Wounds against upcoming Ocean Soul, as well as the Camille Ravenous Hydra, Hecarim's upcoming Death Stance.
Yeah, and it seems like the call right now is just do the Baron with impunity. I mean, Camille's playing bot, doesn't have TP, but it really just doesn't matter. I mean, I don't see how they can create a team fight situation where they're able to burst fed Hecarim with 7-0-1, a Galio that has the Leandries and Protocol completed.
Looks like
2 item powers by Camille.
But she's just gonna hook shot away. It's so hard to. That's one of the strongest points about Camille. Well, she has so much damage to turrets, but at the same time, she can just escape so easily with her hook shot. It's on.
And with that Baron kill, I mean, the Cypher looks to want to back and go for that Death Stance complete, but I don't think he has the gold for it, so they can just play Dragon.
I just want to cure this really quick after pushing in mid turret.
I mean, the game is just
low, need to catch the wave.
Yeah, it's just the game's just getting more and more out of control. I mean, Rutgers is just flying through.
Yep, unstoppable is the Zyra root, and she's just gone. There's nothing she can do. A Zyra post-laning phase is just a sub-champion at this point, especially if you haven't established a lead.
Yeah.
Looks like Ping's gonna come on to the bot turret. Rem's gonna walk over, potentially look for anyone to see if they're gonna contest the take. Well, I don't think they can, as if they step up, Lil Top just hook shots in, Galio ults in, and they're dead. Ash gonna look. Oh, and it's a bit of a miscommunication actually. Rem ults early, but it doesn't matter. Shen's gonna erupt. Half his health gone in an instant to the Triforce and Power Cube.
Yeah, and also the Galio with the Leandries completed is just so strong, and maybe they were able to catch a little top air because extremely low. The flash forward from Saber Fury is able to just barely catch him out with that Rue, and then Autumn
will
Leaf
go
once again
down
picks up
with
a
the wasted
shutdown.
cooldown, but it looks like Ash gets the shutdown here.
Actually, no. Autumn Leaf is the one who got the shutdown here. The Kindred has been getting all the gold and all the shutdown here on the side of.
She does have the Storm Razor, but Galio gonna taunt in. Gonna back off after whiffing it, and it looks like Transact's a bit out of position here. The Storm Razor slows too much. Jin can't get away. The Shenhold's gonna save Ash's life, and it's just gonna be a 1-for-0 play. Baron timer gonna continue to run down.
I mean, you know, that looks like a great way for, you know, Rochester to get back into the game, but if you just look at the gold lead, it's still 12,000. There's just like, even with 2 massive shutdowns on the AD carry as well as the top laner, who both had around like 400 gold shutdowns if I remember correctly, there's just no lead to be regained. I mean, no matter how many picks they get, unless they somehow find a miracle teamfight where, I mean, basically somebody has to go AFK on Rutgers at this point for them to win the game.
Oh, Leona will be going for a bit of a for-fun play here. It has sold the Glacial Shroud and went the Proto Belt, a bit of disrespect, but gonna undo it and go to Zeeks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Galio gonna get the free blue buff, and it looks like Little Top gonna pass back bot lane, hopefully press the gold lead advantage a bit more. This Galio is not gonna die anytime soon. We'll be getting the Zanya's 3rd item to hopefully prevent giving up his 650 gold bounty. And right now, Kindred's just bleeding junk camps. And it's gonna be another play on to Ash. The Jin Slow and Predator Galio gonna come in, and she's just gonna get run down. Satchel Charge gonna hopefully allow Ziggs to escape, but other than that, it's just a 1-for-0 and gonna most likely be a free inhib. Galio gonna taunt in, holds it, and everyone's dead. Kindred 100-0 CC chain, no chance to dash away. Galio gonna flash in, taunt, but not hold it long enough, so Shen will be getting a free escape. Ziggs gonna be wasted, not gonna hit anyone.
Yeah, and I mean, how did they stop Rutgers? I mean, Rutgers is just powering through their entire base, tearing the shreds right now. Little Top getting that bot tower by himself, and probably the bot invis as well. And that's 2 inhibitors down with the top wave actually pushing in. So Tinkers once, that's 3 inhibs right there.
Oh,
so
next,
like they're going for
Ash
a fight.
just gone from the fight, lost almost all her health instantly to Galio. It looks like they will be taking the Nexus turret here. Gen 4 shot gonna come in, Root gonna miss. But how can RET get through the Ocean Soul? They're just normally if a team's in the base for so long, they'd be low, but because of the Ocean Soul, they stay sustained up. They will be leaving here, but Galio's going in once again. The Kindred ult's going to be used. Galio will be backing away, Eing out. Kindred ult kept him nice and topped off, and Ash just does not deal enough damage. Leona will be going down at the very end, but this is surely a broken Nexus. The ult coming on Zig's backline, but the Satchel charge is gonna knock her into the fountain.
I mean, at this point, it's just padding the KDA stats for Rutgers. I mean, they're just playing with their food at this point. There's just nothing the Shen can even do against the Jhin. The Shen's a level down on the AD carry on the enemy team.
Looks like Leona has repurchased the Proto Belt as well. There's so many supers in the base. This game will surely end here. Looks like just padding the damage stats, but this is gonna be a plus 50 for Decipher at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the Rutgers takes game 1 here against Rochester and Technology. A very decisive and extremely statement-making win right here. A 16,000 gold lead at the end of the game. Almost 17,000 as a matter of fact. And no towers taken by Rochester. I don't even believe a dent was put into one of their towers. Only 2 plays taken in total from both sides. Looking at the post-game graphs right here, I mean, need I say more? Like, the Shen did less damage, did almost as much damage as the Leona here, and there was just so little impact from the global power due to Little Top executing the hook shots so well, making sure the Shen just can't leave that lane to help his team. And
I'd say it's also a bit of a statement game from Rem, because this man was everywhere on the map. Every time RET tried to make a play, Matt was there with his ulti, counteracting it. It was just so hard for RET to develop any leads, with Galio being such a strong early game skirmisher.
yeah, I mean, you know, as I said, they were looking for those. Rutgers wants to propel the mid game and early game forward. They can't let RIT scale to the point where they're unable to penetrate through just their raw damage. Ziggs at 3-4 items is absolutely bonkers. Zyra, after hitting the 2-item power spike, getting the Leandries and the Rylai, she also does a lot of deceptive damage. Ash, 3 items, once again slowing you, hitting you really hard. Shen, at the end of the day, he's a tank. You know, he's gonna eventually be able to do something. But Rutgers didn't let them breathe. They just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing their lead forward, and RIT is just unable to find a foothold to stabilize the game. And you know, as we approach game 2, I mean, decisive win from Rutgers, but I mean, I do hope that RIT shows up a little bit here. You know, looking for a more of a perhaps a early game playmaking comp instead of a scaling one, since they seem to really struggle with the last time that they played it. And as we do know, I believe is is it the Halloween Bash? The Halloween Bash is going to be the Fall Bash is going to be this Saturday and this Sunday at 8 p.m. Saturday will be all games played up until the losers finals, and then Sunday will be the day where the losers finals and the grand finals are played. So be sure to check that out on this channel, twitch.tv/Rutgers University LOL, and we will see you there on the weekend. And we will see you when the next game starts.
Like there's something you don't wanna tell, that you keep to yourself. And when I call you and you don't pick up, you're telling me this, you're telling me that, and I don't know what to expect. You say it's so right, I don't feel you. I can sense something is wrong, my intuition is wrong. You say it's okay, say you're sorry. Sorry's the most real word I know. Don't say you're sorry. Don't say you're sorry. Don't say you're issues with us, so quit making things up. Think about it. It's pretty obvious.
All right, welcome back to the CSL Northeastern Region Week 2, Game 2 for Rutgers Esports against Rochester Institute of Technology here. A 1-0 decisive victory from Rutgers here, Game 1. Absolute demolishing of Rochester as they pushed a 17,000 gold lead at the end of the game. And we will be moving in towards the draft here. Oh, there we go. All right, and the draft has begun. So Rutgers is on now the blue side, and Rochester is now on the red side. And we see, again, the Zillion and Graves ban from Rutgers right off the bat, and then Rochester elects for the Nidalee and Bard ban. Pretty standard bans from the first game. I do expect something very similar from the first one. Again, I do hope that Rochester looks for more of a early game composition, something with a little bit more lane priority. They drafted 2 losing solo lanes in the top lane, and really just the Kindred struggled to contest the Hecarim in a lot of the neutral objectives here. Galio is banned away from Rutgers as Rochester realizes the potent power of the Galio Camille.
The Shen first pick gonna come in. I believe this will put pressure onto RAT to pick Hecarim away here, because Hecarim Shen is also just another strong dive comp. Rutgers did ban the Camille. Interestingly, looks like it might not be the Shen jungle, and RT gonna do I then pick away the Shen?
No.
I mean the Hecarim.
Hecarim pick here is to deny that huge engage, as you said earlier, and I do hope that actually the top lane pick gets picked here, as generally speaking, I do not believe that the Cypher is going to play a non-carry jungler here, as RT hopefully has realized here, but instead I'd like him to hover to Zai here and locks it in. Zaya is a very non-traditional ADC at this point in the meta. You don't see her very often, but perhaps it is somewhat of a pocket pick for KRC here, and Rutgers likely to respond.
Theme of denying away comps, what we could actually see here is an Orianna Rakan combo, just for the backline dive. You get the Orianna ball on Rakan, and you also get the Shell, but it will be the Lee Sin.
Interesting pick from the Lee Sin here. Lee Sin's advantage in the early game is that his clear is extremely healthy, extremely fast, and can match Hecarim's. And Hecarim's clear, although relatively fast, is very unhealthy unless he does the Raptors cheese. And if Hecarim doesn't do that, Lee Sin can really abuse the early game dueling potential with Conquer and really just not let Hecarim play the game. But I did expect something like an Ashe or Caitlyn here from Transact, bully that Zaya with the lower range than you, and some kind of aggressive support is also probably coming in for Rutgers here. Very likely to be engaged.
You get the traditional Zaya Rakan, but it will be the Vlad. I can see Rutgers banning away the Rakan if RAT do go for a Morgana ban, which they will do, but it brings into question if RT will also go for the Lux ban, because while Caitlyn Morg is the traditional lane you see if you're going for a win lane duo, Caitlyn Lux is also equally strong, because the Morgana and Lux still do accomplish the same thing with their Q root. it helps set up for the Caitlyn trap.
However, on the other side, with the recon ban coming through, I would actually would find interesting if Rutgers elects to go for more aggressive support instead of a defensive one, instead of a defensive or pick one here. Something perhaps like Vegas or Alistair, or something like the Nautilus, something like Thresh, a playmaking one that really will propel the ability of Shen and Lee Sin making very aggressive plays around the map once the level 6 power spikes come through for both of those champions here. An enabler that allows that team comp to start rolling as the last ban comes in for Rutgers.
I do want to note is that I believe that is the top lane Vladimir, because the top laner for RIT, Hypernet, does have Vladimir as his 3rd most played champion ranked. He's very comfortable in the champion. And Vladimir does get a bit of a free lane into the Shen. It's very hard for Shen to abuse him, because Vlad can just puddle the taunt, which is pretty much all of Shen's ability to trade. Rutgers is going to be banning away the comfort pick of Zyra.
I'm actually very surprised at that ban, actually, because although yes, it is a comfort pick, the Zyra was extremely unimpactful that game, and even in lane, it wasn't extremely pressuring enough to the point where they couldn't really move. In fact, that the Leona and Jen was actually pushing into the Ashe Zyra in most of the game, but the brand hover
might be another comfort pick. Yeah, it's the brand. He did get several changes in 10.22. His passive has less base damage but higher scaling. His E now always spreads on cast instead of just spreading to nearby targets if they're already on fire. And his R bounces to himself as well as enemy champions.
And I mean, the Xayah brand 2v2 is just extremely strong as well. Xayah being able to, quickly proc her root with her feathers, but the Lulu coming in to counteract that 2v2 power here. Lulu ultimate can effectively deny the passive proc damage as well as the bounces if they move far enough away, and the polymorph actually will really have Xayah struggle. The polymorph could end up with a lot of chain CC with the Shen, with the Lee Sin. And polymorph is actually also extremely effective against the Hecarim. After the unstoppable happens, polymorph going down on Hecarim will also make him a muffin. He's gonna be a muffin in the middle of team fight, and he's not gonna really have a way out. And Irelia is actually locked in here by Rem here. That Irelia is most definitely going mid. I'm willing to put all my money on that one.
I'd actually say this was a bit of a mismatch in the bottom lane for the Xayah brand, because Xayah really loves having the supports that can really just lock down an 80 carrier's enchanter while she sets up her feathers. But right now, it's just it's relying pretty much entirely on Brand to help set up any kill threat. The Veigar gonna come in, but the problem with Veigar is that Irelia can just get on him so easily if she were to just Q through a caster, and then Q to Veigar and just auto him down. The good thing is, RAT does have a good damage split for the mid lane, Hecarim being AD and Veigar being AP, so it's less likely that Irelia will be going for, say, a Wit's End rush to help counteract the magic damage, but Vlad definitely is unhappy with his team. He wants to be able to just be one of the sole AP threats, so he can just dive into the backline and blow everyone up. But with 3 heavy magic dealing champions in RAT, it's just really nice to itemize that MR, get maybe a QSS or Hex Drinker on all the carries.
Yeah, and honestly, I in the chat they were actually considering whether or not the Lulu wanted to be a Yuumi, but I think Rutgers decided to stay with the Lulu pick instead. Just to speculate if it was actually a Yuumi, I mean, I don't see that Shen or Irelia ever dying in a team fight. So, but with the Lulu, it should have very similar effects here. And as you said, I mean, the Veigar matchup for Irelia, is something that is very volatile. If Irelia gets that level 1 cheese off on the Veigar, I mean, Veigar's just permanently sitting underneath this tower, and yeah, you can go cage, you can put the cage on top of yourself when Irelia all-ins you, but if she plays her abilities where she can lock you down long enough so that your cage expires and she still has Q stacks on you, and she keeps chasing you down, and the lane is actually a lot harder than people expect. And once again, RIT has elected to go for the scaling comp, the comp that, eventually one day we're gonna do a lot of damage. Whereas Rutgers, with the Lee Sin pick, with the Irelia pick, they're looking to make big plays around the map. They're looking to really push their early game lead. And, you know, once again, they pick something like Hecarim, and Hecarim really excels if he has laners helping him throughout his jungling phase, you know, like contest scuttles. But, you know, with a Vladimir, with a Viger, there's just no prio anywhere. They once again picked two essentially losing or even lanes for their solo laners, and Hecarim just had struggled so much trying to play the game. And, you know, as a jungle player, I mean, this infuriates me seeing the RIT make the same mistake again twice, where the Hecarim just doesn't have any breathing room.
One of the things backing them here, though, that differs from last game is that Rutgers has actually opted for a full AD composition between the Lee Sin, Caitlyn, Irelia, and Shen. Even if Rutgers get ahead, it's much easier to itemize defensively, because with them being full AD, there's not much magic damage on the table from Rutgers, as opposed to last game, where there was just a Galio going around one-shotting practically everyone.
I mean, to counteract that, however, the Hecarim, yeah, he can maybe build tank, but Hecarim right now excels at the Triforce Rush. He really wants to get that Triforce power spike and just run people down with it. And then, you know, Vlad and Vire can build Seekers, so can Bran, you know, but that's about all the armor that those three champions are going to get. You know, getting anything more than the Seekers and you're severely delaying your own power spike and your own damage. Xayah, there's just no armor item for her to build other than Guardian Angel, unless she wants to end up building like a Dead Man's Plate or something just to get out alive. I mean, yes, Rutgers is elected for an all AD team, but, you know, itemization, yeah, you can build armor, but where do you build it? On what champion do you build it? And how do you build it without losing all the damage that you have?
I feel like as long as RAT get to, say, the 30-minute mark or so, it's just going to be incredibly hard to stop Vladimir or Hecarim from diving to the backline. There is only one polymorph between the two, and you do have to make the critical choice of Vlad or Hecarim. Both do so much damage come late game as well. Hecarim not dropping off as much anymore.
I mean, this is just going to come down to, you know, how the macro plays out. If Rutgers is able to push their early game power forward like last game and get something like 4 kills on the Lee Sin or 4 kills on the Irelia, the game's going to be blown wide open. I think that, you know, Rochester doesn't give themselves enough of a backdoor. They don't give enough room for an exit from their scaling strategy if they get put far enough behind. And I mean, the scaling strategy, yes, it technically always will work because you will scale. But to get to that scaling, I don't know how they're going to do it with Rutgers being such a powerful team in terms of early game macro. Alright, and the champ select has completed here, and we are now beginning to enter the spectator delay. I mean, you know, I really hope to see a different kind of playstyle for IT this time, but I didn't really get it, so hopefully they're able to play towards their win condition a little better and not take those early game skirmishes that put them behind to a point where they're unable to play.
This would be interesting, actually, if they decide to go for the Shen support swap. They have decided to do it. It looks like RAT did poke a bit fun by swapping the brand to top. But I Am Nice Guy does end up taking the Lulu at the end of the day. Oh no!
Oh, and a swap back?
It could be a swap.
They're
I'm
teasing
not sure
us.
if there's a 20-second lockout in CSL, but if there is, it'd be definitely an interesting choice to counteract the Vlad early game.
Yeah, I mean,
weak. Lulu would just be able to push in for free, and it looks like it is Lulu top.
Wow, what
a
an
very
unexpected
big
change!
surprise coming out from Rutgers. It makes going on to the brand Zyra lane so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, with the Shen, all you need to do is just wait for the taunt flash, and you get a free Lee Sin Q, and the damage just is all adding up there. Caitlyn gets the free trap off, she gets the free Q off, just everything lands, and neither Bran or Xayah can live. There's just no time for them to even react to the Shen properly taunt flashes. And, you know, the Lulu top into the Vladimir, I mean, it's just the farm lane, but Lulu is actually really good at poking and deceptively has a lot of damage with picks.
Although Lulu's late game Q damage did get nerfed, she is still incredibly strong. She can still get the Ardent and Ascenes early because she has the solo lane income. She has the bonus XP, so her shield's just gonna be that much stronger earlier in the game.
Yeah,
and it helps enable the Lee Sin Lulu 2v2 so much as well. And with her going top, she'll be dealing a lot more magic damage than she traditionally would as a support, which helps bridge the gap with the full AD comp that Rutgers originally had.
Yeah, and now seeing that the Lulu's going top, I'm predicting that the Cypher's going to play heavily towards the mid lane, really try to get Irelia ahead, because with the Lulu, Irelia is unstoppable. There's just nothing you can do to stop that absolute flurry of Blaze just coming into your team. Ultimate, Q stacks, like, I don't know how they're going to stop an Irelia with the Lulu ultimate and Lulu polymorphs protecting her as well. And with the Shen backing her up, this is just a protect Irelia or protect that Caitlyn comp.
It's definitely up to Mad 2012 to just be able to evade the Lee Sin ganks. There's not much setup coming out from the Irelia, so it mostly lands on Lee Sin, say, ward hopping in, Eing for the slow and hitting Q, rather than Irelia queuing in for a Blade Surge to land.
Yeah. Alright, and
I think that's it.
Yeah, alright, we'll see you when the game starts in just a few minutes. And welcome back. Welcome back to Game 2 of Rochester.
There is one
Rutgers.
interesting keystone I want to point out, and that is the Predator on the Veigar. Normally, you will see the Glacial Augment with GLP and Twin Chaos being taken competitive, but here he has decided to go for the old keystone you'd run competitive, which is Predator. It definitely helps us gang the picks off, however, it really makes you question why you'd go Predator over GLP and Twin Chaos nowadays.
And another thing that I want to take note is that he also elected to take the teleport instead of the either barrier, exhaust, any of those options into Irelia. Her all-in potential is just so dangerous that, you know, teleport isn't going to save your life. Teleport's just going to let you get back to lane and die again if the Irelia is good enough. And
we have a cheeky ping coming out from Mad 2012. He hit the blind Q into the bush onto I Am Nice Guy and pinged his passive, one ability power he gained from it.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to ask about this, but Lee Sin has decided to go for the cheap shot rather than sudden impact you'd normally see. So I want you to just know your thoughts on that one.
I mean, cheap shot is it gives you a little bit more burst with your R combo, the Sonic Wave into Dragon's Rage into Q2. I mean, it gives you that little bit of extra power, but I do believe personally that Sudden Impact is just a better rune. It just does more. It gives you more value overall. But you know, him taking Relentless Hunter is also another interesting choice. It does help with his early game, you know, ganking power, helps him get around.
That is a misplay from Mad 2012. Aurelia was able to stack her passive off the first wave, like he warned, and she was able to get about 4 autos hopping. Did chunk Mad to about 1/3 HP.
Yeah, and Rem just skillfully dodging all of those skill shots coming from Mad, trying to stack his passive. Mad is actually tanking up the minion, losing about 100 health in the process there, which could spell his death.
He did go for the W level 2. Just assist him in farming from far away, because he will be most likely getting zoned a bit from the wave. It does free up Lee Sin's ability to gank. Ooh, and it looks like Brand gonna be landing his W and Q onto Caitlyn, gonna chunk her to 300 HP. He will be getting a Dark Harvest stack, which will help a lot more in the later team fights, which just backs RAT's preference to play for later on in the game rather than laning phase, where you normally would see a Brand take, say, Comet, if you wanted to help him lane.
Alright, both junglers have elected to do a top to bot clear. So the Lee Sin is actually going to meet up with Hecarim here. Hecarim starting to hit the scuttle on the boss side here. Irelia is
there might be a bit of a scrap going on. Lee Sin heading in will be able to land the Q onto Hecarim. Gonna auto him up, and Ghost coming out. And Lee Sin smites the crab. It's gonna be a win for him. He has the ward as well to kind of caution Hecarim from running into his bot side jungle, because he can get the free ward hopping. Lee Sin will just be booking it straight to the other crab to get a free double scuttle. It's going to be a solo kill coming out for Lee, and Hecarim will be going for the red smite here.
Yeah, the Cypher.
Irelia's going to get the solo here for something. Except the flash away. Rem did not want to commit to that, it looks like.
I mean, I personally would not have committed to that one either. The wave is in a position where Rem could easily freeze it, but instead he elects to push it in, which I suppose does deny the Vigar a cannon wave and forces the TP out if he wants to pick up the cannon wave. And indeed, the teleport comes out.
Teleport does come out, and if he stays, yep, here comes Hecarim, gonna charge him into the cage. Q gonna be blocked, but Rem surely gonna go down here. A bit of a misplay coming out from him.
Yeah, I mean, actually a genius teleport coming from Mad 2012 here, teleporting to make sure that Rem actually wastes his last stack on wastes a stack on Q and doesn't have the reset to get out, and the Predator coupled with the teleport speed and the Hecarim coming in, forcing the cage to be knocked in.
If you were to look bot, Brand is just solo zoning both Transact and I Am Nice Guy from the wave. The Dark Harvest will halfway off cooldown. He has 3 stacks of it already. It's applying so much pressure now that they don't have a way to get back to higher HP. And meanwhile, top lane, Hecarim gonna be forcing the flash from Lulu.
The solo kill?
The solo kill, it turns around.
Lil Top turns it around.
Did not have the Q cooldown up in time, was not able to heal, and Hecarim's going to be just walking away to his Krug camp.
Wow, I mean, Hyper definitely overstepping their thing that he would survive the Lulu auto damage, but you know, everybody knows Machine Gun Lulu definitely hurts.
Corrupting Potion coming in clutch. Not only that, but the Time Warp Tonic move speed actually as well to help the chase down.
Yeah, I mean, that was just really well played by Lil Top, but Boyd and the gank altogether actually turning it into a 1-4-0 here. And, you know, he has hit level 6. TP hasn't been used yet, so he is stuck in a lane for a little bit until the wave is thinned out just a little bit more. Meanwhile, Lee Sin in the bot lane gets a free dragon.
They did sneak it out from under them. They saw the Hecarim top and immediately booked it straight there. Gonna get the free dragon. It looks like it might be a play bot, but the Brand W gonna force them off of it. Veigar gonna be getting a ward into Pixel Brush most likely, but he ends up being a tad bit lazy here.
I mean, I would be scared to walk into that brush right now with Lee Sin and really missing.
Want to place a ward in the river brush, but rather in the transitional area right past it, because then you can see both a jungler coming from the river as well as coming from Raptor Pit, like the Raptor Pit area. Especially against a jungler like Lee Sin. Oh, speaking of that, he is able to ward hop over the wall and snipe away the Scuttle Crab. Hecarim running out of mana here, gonna auto away the Honey Fruit man, but Rem gonna be landing so many E's, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and actually, Rem made a huge mechanical mistake there. Actually lost his Q stacks by queuing the same target once. Yeah. Twice in a row, and actually probably costed him a double kill. I do believe that would have been a double kill if he was able to get.
I believe it could have been a triple, because right after he hit that 2-man E, he hit a 3-man R. That would have been another 3 Qs, even more healing. Yeah, it looks like he will be going for the Bilgewater Cutlass here, going into the Bork. But this Veigar just picked up 2 kills.
Yeah, and also, you know, doesn't have a CS lead quite yet, but, you know, relatively similar in CS allows him to actually match, you know, the scaling that he wants to do later. I mean, both teams right now dead even in gold right now, just a 100 gold difference between the two. And that's going to fast forward the wave.
The Lulu poke is coming in rough. This Vladimir is not able to sustain it as much. Lulu will be going for the Athenes here, though, just for the added power to help enable both Irelia and Lee Sin. It looks like Vladimir will be sniping away the big Krug.
I mean, he definitely wanted to just heal, but you know, Hecarim actually
that kind of damage would be for sure.
That's true. Now the Herald is picked up.
Herald picked up, most likely gonna go, I want to say top here.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're definitely looking for a dive.
But it's going to be hard to dive the Vladimir. The pool is up, 22-second cooldown, and Lee Sin is warded out. Gonna hit the Q, but I'm not sure he can take this with the wave not pushed in yet. Hecarim here, Lee Sin gonna kick him away, and that's that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in any other circumstance with any other top laner, Hecarim uses ultimate in there without a doubt. I mean, he definitely goes in and keeps chasing Lee Sin, but with the Lulu ultimate still available, it's very likely that they can even turn the fight, in fact, with Lee Sin's Conquer being stacked. So, Hecarim now looking mid, see if he can find a pick onto the Irelia here, knowing that Rem is going to look to play aggressively.
Veigar's Predator is up, so landing a cage would be incredibly easy. However, Rem does have Flash to evade it. If he goes for the Q, yep, your Hecarim comes, gonna flash out of the cage, and they're gonna just walk it off.
Yeah, I mean, that was exactly what they were looking for. They were looking for the flash on the Irelia so that the ganks come, you know, much more often, and they just have to do the same thing over and over again.
Bot lane, Shen landed a taunt onto Brand. Brand has to flash away and reset. Brand looks like he's going to be going for the Leandri's first item. Fairly standard purchase. Vlad also gonna go for CER Garage, so here the Fiendish Codex and Kindle Gem, most likely gonna go for the Proto Belt. He decided not to opt for the Spellbinder Rabadon build, where you just dive into the backline in an attempt to one-shot everyone. I can see that making sense with how many AP threats RAT already has on their team, and it looks like Veigar did buy the stopwatch.
Yeah, I mean, it stops a lot of the all-in potential that Irelia has, and now with her flash down, it's even harder for her to chase down the Veigar through his cage, and also the Hecarim hovering, and Matt's probably just going to elect to clear the wave here. Oh, and both Mad 2012 and Autumn Leaf is looking to walk up the river and gank this Lulu who's getting poked right now.
Rem is fairly close to getting his Blade of the Crown, but look, the Vladimir ult coming down as well. Lulu gonna flash, but I don't think that's a good flash to make. You are dead no matter what, sir. And Lulu goes down. The Brand Eve hits the Q, the ult, it's all coming in, but it looks like the flash ult not gonna matter. Shen lives, and it looks like another Brand EQ is gonna hit. Xayah lives 1 HP. The flash Q lands, and it looks like it's a dead Xayah. The 2v2 has Rutgers coming out on top. The brand damage was not enough.
You know, and that was actually extremely surprising to me because Brand wasn't able to get the body block off, and if he was able to, Xayah lives there for sure, and it's a 0 for 0 there actually, because Shen actually just barely managed to survive off the skin of his teeth. But now Transat getting almost solo gold here. I mean, obviously sharing it with the Lee Sin, who had to drop the Herald, but now the Drake once again goes to Rutgers here at 12 minutes, which means that we're on track for yet another 25-minute soul here.
Looks like, Veigar here. They could potentially look Irelia, and the damage coming out onto Irelia, the burst is so big when the Shenel comes down. Surely they'll go down here. WQ knock him out, but Lee Sin, most importantly, misses his resonating strike. Veigar going to be able to walk this out. The flash W from Lee doesn't matter. Brand came straight from base.
I mean, that was definitely an overstep and overchase from Rutgers here. Yeah. The flash W was completely unnecessary, and the Cypher was honestly just looking for the Q onto the Veigar just to try to execute, but extremely greedy from him, and just that one overstep actually gives the Veigar yet another kill, 4-0.
It's say 2012. Brand pick for RIT has definitely been a dark horse in my eyes. He's been landing so many key stuns onto Rutgers and has just been denying so many plays.
Yeah, I mean, right now this is exactly what RIT wants to play. They want to play for the staying even in the early and mid game. They want to play towards their win condition of scaling, and now that's exactly what's happening. The Veigar, although it is 30 CS down, so in reality is still even with Rem. He's strong. He has a Ludens completed, and that outplay button on his R is going to really hurt one of the carries on the Rutgers side. And the Cypher, of course, is going to have to be the star of the show here this game, in my opinion. I think that he needs to find the picks onto the Veigar, get the kicks down, get him into his team so that they can take him down really quickly. But of course, there's still the threat of the Brand later on. I think that this is going to be actually a pretty hard game for Rutgers to win here.
If this Veigar gets, say, once he completes Zanya's and potentially goes for a Banshee, even though Banshee is not that helpful in their team, just the sheer denial of pick potential could be so incredibly useful, because you have to think, what can pop Veigar Banshee come later on and come, say, 30 minutes into the game, other than Lee Sin Q and Luke Q? I mean, another 2v2 bot lane. It looks like the Brand ult gonna come down, but the Ignite gonna take out Brand.
Caitlyn is still looking to play aggressively. The one headshot auto taking away almost 25% of the Xayah health bar.
Caitlyn does have the Infinity Edge complete compared to Xayah's BF Berserker, so it was just almost able to practically one-shot Xayah there.
Yeah, and once again, you see that Rutgers' really strong laners are taking great advantage in the lanes. I mean, it's yet another 40 CS difference in the bot lane, 30 CS difference in the middle lane. You see that Rutgers, even though they're behind in kills, they're almost up 2,000 gold. I mean, this is kind of the early game and the microplay that Rutgers has.
It's just going to be a solo kill coming in for Matt practically. That Lee Sin did not help much there. And the Ward Hop insect, but the stun from Brand! The stun from Brand hits. Shenel will have to come down, forces the cooldown, but Veigar will be going down, and the shutdown is given to Rem.
And actually, I want to know a microplay that Matt made that actually allowed him to take that kill without dying there. He was able to Q through 3 caster minions with fully stacked passive to avoid the Veigar W that was coming on top of him, and then Q towards the Veigar for the last bit of healing that he needed to survive. And with the Conquer stacks coming in, he was able to heal enough to survive 2 tower shots.
That is not where you want to run, Xayah. Your turret is 1 HP. Will be having to burn at the ulti here. Potentially draw back an E, maybe get a follow-up, but steps into a trap. The Q could erase her. The stun onto Caitlyn, though, did not land the third ability. Did have ulti up, but was not potentially having a mana for cast. But Hecarim's just gonna Q spam them down. The Rampage, it's a free double for Hecarim.
Yeah, I mean that's really big for the Hecarim there. He needed something like that to get himself back into the game. Originally he was 1-3, but now with those 2 kills in his pocket, he should have enough gold to buy that Triforce completion, as well as the Cinder Hole component of the Bammy Cinder. Though, however, some headrooms now do elect to go for the boost completion into the Death Stance instead of opting to finish the jungle item.
Yeah, it looks
So
like
we
he
shall
will
see
be
how he
going
goes.
for the Tabai here.
Yeah, so either the Taibais or he's already beginning to build
So
towards the
much
Death Stance.
value into Rutgers' team as well. It looks like Aurelia will be going for the Wit's End, very, very strong into RAT. Just so much sustain as well. If Veigar doesn't get a one-shot onto her, she will just be able to live the fight, and Shen gonna have to flash the cage on. You can't dodge the cage, so yeah, you'll have to flash out. But one big, I want to say, misplay from Mad 2012 is he's decided to opt for the W max second, so he does get more damage. But other than that, he's missing out on leveling cage crucially. It looks like the ulti gonna land. Aurelia gonna hit 4 people, but she just gets erupted. She's not tanky enough. On the backside, the brand passive is gonna blow up IMS guy. It might just be a free dragon.
Yeah, and know how the Lulu was unable to get an ultimate off here, unfortunately. You know, not being in range of any of either the engaging Irelia or the dead Shen. You know, the Lulu ulti and the potential on the Lulu was just completely wasted right there. I mean, a good ulti on the Irelia could have completely turned fight.
Oh, that headshot, 530 damage onto KRC5, and it looks like they'll have Veigar tank it up. Lee Sin Q gonna miss, Hecarim gonna be diving in, but they're just able to kite it out. The Lulu move speed is too much. Vladimir gonna have to Pro Blade, but Protobelt straight onto a trap. But the W from Brand as well as Veigar gonna land onto Lulu. Shenult coming in, and it looks like it's gonna be a 1-for-0 coming out.
Yeah, again a huge overstay here from RIT here, thinking that they can, you know, still fight that when, you know, the Shen ultimate is coming through and the Lulu ultimate is still up. I think they did neglect to realize that Lulu never used her ulti in that earlier fight where RIT got 2 free kills, and because of that they went just a little too hard, and Lulu was able to get a 2-man knockup and turn the fight around completely.
It's just so hard for RIT to engage that fight. They did not have the tools necessary. They did not have the Hecarim Ghost or the Hecarim ulti, and I believe Veigar's Predator was down, and especially after tanking the Caitlyn's Ace in the hole, he can't approach that team to cage them. He'll just die.
Yeah, and again, Caitlyn is just outputting so much damage right now with the IE completion as well as the extra BF sword in the inventory. I mean, you saw that the damage was like 548 damage a crit, and you know, the kind of long range poke that Caitlyn brings to the table is exactly why the pick was here for Rutgers. They needed some kind of form of, you know, long range poke to match that Veigar, to match the DPS that Veigar could put out at a distance. And you know, Xayah just can't do the same thing right now until she hits her 3 items, in which case is the Runins and the Phantom Dancer and the Affinity Edge, I assume is what she's going to be going for. And you know, once again, you see that Xayah actually chose to go for the Zerker Grease instead of the Tabbies that could very well save her life in future fights. So that is something that I think is a misplay.
It looks like Hypernat will be able to escape that. Does have the phase rush, but it's not able to get the follow-up Q to potentially get the heal. A bit scared of Aurelia pressing the R key with Ignite. And Lee Sin is just going to be so hard to kill here. He has some Arc Treads, he has the Hex Drinker. Aurelia completing her Wit's End as well. It really makes you question how RT are supposed to pilot fights. And it looks like Matt was actually hiding in the bush waiting. And look, the ult comes in, is not enough. Matt guns him down with the Blade Surge. But I mean, from behind comes Hecarim. He ults in, fears, and Caitlyn to the team, man. It's a 1-for-1 across the map.
Yeah, and I find it surprising that, you know, Lil Top is still split pushing. I mean, generally speaking, at this point in the game, Lulu wants to be with her team. She wants to be more impactful with her ultimates and protecting her carries, but she still is pushing the side lanes right now, and without teleport up even. I find that a very interesting choice. And they're actually electing to give up tier 2 turret in exchange for perhaps getting the bot tier 2.
Oh, and it looks like I Am Nice Guy gets caged, but let me know that it's still a level 1 cage for Veigar. Did opt for the W max second. So the stun durations, instead of being 2.25 seconds, is 1.5.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Rochester needs to find a pick. They need to get the Hecarim ulti in there to find a pick like on that Caitlyn. They need to get the Predator Viger cage around somebody, or they don't really have a team fight to fight. They have no ways to engage other than those two members of the team. And unless Brand hits some miracle Q after hitting a W on some carry, it's going to be very hard for RIT to front to back them. They need to dive extremely hard, or they need to blow up somebody before Rutgers can react and counter attack.
I do believe in Saber Fury's Brand though, because throughout this game he has been hitting so many crucial stunts on the target.
Yeah, and Brand is also one of the best late game team fighters. I mean, just by pressing R alone, he can output a significant amount of damage.
It's definitely going to be hard though into the sustain of Rutgers. It's going to be the Death Dance Aurelia. Lulu has her 2 core items of Athene's Ardent. So how are they supposed to burst down this Aurelia in time? This Vlad is not strong enough yet. He doesn't have his Death Cap, he doesn't have his Zanyas, and right now Matt's just gonna be stealing away jungle camps.
And I mean, with the dragon respawning in just 1 minute and it being soul for Rutgers, RIT really needs to set a vision right now around the dragon. Otherwise, they're never going to get a chance.
Typically, it's 1 to 2 minutes before, but right now, RIT still has reset, but they don't have any ping in their inventory. Sure, they just bought, but mid, Transact just erupts.
Transact dies the same exact way as last time. The Hecarim flank around the edges of the vision that he doesn't have.
To be up there. They just have no vision. It's pretty much, other than the pink ward in River and the ward up by red buff, it's completely pitch black. He should not be that far up without his Shen nearby.
It was definitely a huge macro misplay from Transact there. I'm not sure if it was a lapse in judgment or he's just completely disrespecting the pick potential that RIT has. I mean, now it looks like Matt's going to be the next target. They're all grouping around the buff rush, and they're all coming in. Like Matt misses the stun.
He's going to miss. Will flash onto Xayah. Xayah going to ult. Shen coming in, and it looks like they will be kind this back. And the kick onto Brand, he misses the flash, are not going to come in either.
Yeah, but that was actually really bad for Rutgers there. Actually, the Brand was almost able to get out if he flashed backwards, but it seems like he flashed the wrong way, trying to get a Q off right before he flashes.
I think his cursor was in the middle of the rock, but it was slightly too low. So instead of up and to the left, he went down. And right now, Hecarim's just gonna run it pretty much. He's sprinted in and dies. Veigar is gonna go down as well, miss the E, hits the W ult, but it's not enough onto the Caitlyn. It's gonna be a free soul pickup for Rutgers.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where the game could go, like, hugely either way. I actually thought that, Rochester actually had a decent, like, even though they were down goal, I thought that they had a good advantage with the Viger being so fed, but now that the Soul is on the side of Rutgers, Caitlyn autos are going to be doing massive amounts of damage, and as long as the Viger can't get on top of the Caitlyn, the R button is never going to reach her. Now the Barons probably goes down for free to Rutgers as well. We have the Blade of the Ruin King completed, and the Shen goes over, making sure that nobody
Shen goes over the Caitlyn ult with the Infernal Soul's just gonna do half his health. Lee Sin, a bit of an overstep, gonna have to get Lulu ulted and run back in. Transact E-ing over the wall, gonna take down Xayah, gonna blow open the head of Brand. Veigar coming in, lands the E, forces the flash. Shen blowing flashes left and right this game, but does not have enough damage. The ult cooldown not up yet. But the cage lands.
Stunned up. Oh,
the
no.
Stun onto the carry.
And Transact. Yeah. I mean, this is once again another misstep in the misposition from Transact. And no.
Wait, but he dashes him into the cage. Is it gonna be enough? If he has the Q cooldown, Rem goes down.
Yeah. I mean, he does trade 1 for 1, but
it's definitely not the trade you'd like to give. He gave a 350 gold shutdown to the Veigar, and just like that, Veigar's 8-2-2. He's back into the game practically, and they chucked away their Baron buff to push with. it's gonna be incredibly hard to wave clear into this Veigar when he has so much ability power. He's at 507 right now.
Oh, and Veigar once again begins predatoring towards that Shen with bot lane, and I mean, notice how he has 507 AP, and he only has a rod completed for his death cap. I mean, after the death cap completion, he's going to have somewhere around 700 AP.
He is currently about 400 gold away from his death cap, and once he gets that, he will surely just be able to kill practically everyone.
Yeah. I mean, the
you
Shen
saw
has...
the Irelia, she had her distance, and she still almost got one shot.
Yeah.
And it looks like the cage gonna land. Lee Sin won't be able to take the Q in because of it. Dashes can't go through the wall. It looks like Autumn Leaf will be flashing the C9 emote as he steals away the Ganon from Veigar. But the problem will be this bottom lane. Because right now, Caitlyn's just pushing, and with her rapid fire cannon, Stormers are so hard to get near here. Veigar will be predatoring to ward them off. It's gonna clear out the wave, but right now, it's just another Baron wave coming. Baron is gonna run out fairly soon. It's almost up, I want to say.
Wow, and that Caitlyn ultimate chunks ran from 100 HP down to only from 100% HP down to only about 30%, 500 HP left on the 1.8k health max health ran.
Oh
down, my lord!
The headshot auto just gonna blow him away. He's gonna have to ult out of that, and that's one of the largest engage tools for Rutgers down. And and watch out, because the Lee Sin Resonating Strike does land a Veigar. He will have to back off.
I mean,
the smoke just top lane. And meanwhile, RET and Rutgers are just both bleeding waves mid, but the wave is pushing out, so one of Rutgers might have to go catch that, but they're just pushing into the base. The Shen Dash not gonna land, Zai will be forced to ult, and it looks like the brand stun is gonna land, and it's just gonna be repeated R bounces onto Lulu. The Locket will be Pop Redemption coming down. Hecarim might be looking for a flank, but look mid. Irelia's in the base. Can it be a collapse? E misses. Resonating Strike onto Hecarim. Gonna be a kick, maybe. They're caught between two turrets. Matt needs to get out of there, but he will be going down most likely. Autumn Leaf almost dies, but look at bot inhib. They're in the base. Veigar will be dying to Ignite here. Transact free firing. It looks like the ult will be blocked by Vladimir, but it's another half of his HP gone. Shen taunt gonna miss, but the Lulu ult comes in. How is RET supposed to get near this Caitlyn with the Lulu backing her?
I mean, it's so difficult for RIT. It looked like that was actually a winning fight for them. Red making an extremely large misplay and dying under tower and allowing the Hecarim to live as well, but Caitlyn's just running forward into the Vladimir.
Here, I believe. The flash E gonna land. Vladimir's still alive. The fountain heal is too much. The ult heal is too much. They will have to back away. A bit of a misplay coming up from Transact, egoing on at the fountain.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely walking forward into Vlad was not the right play, and perhaps you thought that the Lulu shields would be enough, but you have to realize that the Vlad has a protobelt and a death cap completed, as well as Sork Shoes and Oblivion. He's full pen right now.
He has double pen. That is definitely an ambitious purchase, I feel, because I'm pretty sure that Transact will... He has 2,300 gold. That is a solid either QSS or Hex Drinker there. Could potentially be both if he wanted. Because if he does that, then Vlad's double pen is practically mitigated with a simple Full Magic Mantle purchase.
Yeah, and I think getting the QSS is definitely the better play here due to the picked potential that both Hecarim and Veigar can present here. But instead, Transact does elect for the Hex Drinker for the burst mitigation instead. Although, in my opinion,
here, however, if he went Hex Drinker because his support or Lulu were playing to actually pick up a Mikhail's here. Mikhail's will be incredibly strong on either of them. It did get buffed last season, the Mikhail's to have 20% heal shield power, which Lulu loves.
I do think that Mikhail's is a great buy, but unfortunately this team fight could be the one that changes all. Elder has spawned now for
Elder is up, Veigar gonna have to TP to the ward on Grom. Transact in position, gonna be placing traps galore. And it looks like Veigar will have to do a risky walk around most likely. No one can tank these traps, no one is near tanky enough. If Transact has walking through the auto from Caitlyn gonna do 2/3 of his health bar. Veigar Cage gonna whiff, and Shen's just on the side, pressuring. The flash Caitlyn ult coming in, 5-man. Aurelia's gonna auto down the backline. RIT are routed. RIT are scattered. The Caitlyn ult's gonna pick up Veigar off the back, and Irelia is just gonna push it down mid, and the game is over in a blink of an eye.
I mean,
what an
engage!
A crucial Vanguard's edge coming out from Rem just shatters RIT in two.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to realize that the setup that the Caitlyn gave Rem there, Transact hitting two crucial auto attacks, making sure that the health bars are extremely low, and all Rem needs to do is hit that R and let the Infernal Soul do its job, and they're just dead. And that's the game.
The game is over.
Yeah,
Rutgers come out 2-0.
Yeah, wow, what a game. I mean, I thought that it was going to be a lot more exciting team fighting at the last bit of the Elder fight there. You know, looking for perhaps a Hecarim engage in, but Hecarim never even got to use his ulti. He just instantly died. What a game.
That's the power of Caitlyn for you. He's just able to create so much his own control. Keep in mind, the two traps by the Blast Cone, by the Tri-Brush for below Grump, warded Rutgers to the left of the blue buff area, and there were just so many traps that they're forced into a funnel, allowing Matt to just get the free Vanguard's edge to scatter them.
Yeah, and I mean,
with
if you
his
look,
build, he just did so much damage.
and if you look at the damage graph, I mean, the Vladimir and the Xayah just had so little impact considering their role in the later stages of the game. I mean, Xayah did 9,000 damage, the least damage in the game aside from the Shen support on the Rutgers side. And Lulu actually ended up doing more damage than Vlad. I mean, he had a death cap, he had a Protobell, he had double pen. There's no reason for Vladimir to do absolutely no damage in a team fight. And Transact almost doubling the damage of the second highest of the highest damaging player, which would be the Veigar on the Rochester side, and it's just too much damage for them to deal with.
That's really just the problem I feel when it comes to picking comfort over meta. This Xayah was not able to get anywhere near the fights at all. The Caitlyn range with rapid fire was just too much.
Yeah, I mean, and with the headshots coupled in, she's doing 1,000 damage in auto attack, and you could see how much damage it was doing to the brand. Coupled with the Infernal Soul, that was probably adding on another 300 or so damage. The brand was getting like practically one shot by an auto attack. There's just he can't even get his R off before his head just gets taken off. Yeah, and that ends the week 2 game for Rutgers Varsity here, and a clean 2-0 sweep from them. And you know, I am excited to see how far this Varsity team can go. And don't forget, this weekend we have the Fall Bash on November 7th and November 8th, Saturday and Sunday this weekend at 8 p.m. The losers, the games on Saturday will be played up until the losers and grand finals, and then we will have it is 5 p.m. And the games will be played up to the losers finals and the winner final, and then on Sunday we will have the major event of both finals happening as well. So be sure to stay tuned. Also, there will be a junior varsity match for Rutgers Junior Varsity 1 on Thursday at 8. That your favorite cast over here will be playing, and so be sure to come check that one out. And we will see you in a few days.
Bye-bye.
Signing off.
When I used to be young and free, I remember her like it was yesterday. She was so beautiful to me. In my mind sometimes I'll run away to this time back in history. She reminds me of the summertime, way back in 2003. Hey, she was a cutie in a sundress. I told her I just had to confess, I got a crush on you, darling. Them long tan legs got me falling. And I know we just met.
Alright, Josh.
But I heard that love at first sight ain't a myth. Oh no, yeah. I wanna take you out on a dance floor, girl. I wanna hear you screaming out for some more, girl. I wanna do something that they call crazy. Call you my baby, my pretty lady. I wanna be with you until we're fucking 80. I wanna watch the sunset with you daily. Keep my baby safe as we live, always chasing. Hearts racing when I'm with you, I'm just saying. Back to all the better days when I used to be young and free. I remember her like like it was yesterday. She was so beautiful to me. In my mind sometimes I'll run away to this time back in history. She reminds me of the summertime, way back in 2003. I've been chilling on the coast with my homegirl, the palm trees and the time moving slow, girls. Back to my place, hey, you can call it home, girl. Pina coladas on tap, we alone, girl. I want a piece of you, you want a piece of me. Ray-Bans on, gotta block out the heat. I love your smile too, I've never felt so free. Bring it on, girl, work that body here to me. And I know that summer only lasts 3 months. Yeah, we got the whole world, travel with me, girl. And we'll never stop chasing the sun. That's right. On the run, we ain't done till we find what we want. So we can stop anytime we want. Cause we on the run, we ain't done till we find what we want. But I already found the one. I think back to all the better days when I used to be young and free. I remember her like it was yesterday. She was so beautiful to me. In my mind sometimes I'll run away to this time back in history. She reminds me of the summertime, way back in 2003.